Welcome to the Creative Minds Smart Money podcast, where we turn financial confusion into creative confidence. I'm Samantha Eck, bookkeeper and fractional CFO for creative entrepreneurs. Each week, I'm sharing my financial expertise and actionable strategies to help you build a thriving creative business. Plus, you'll hear from industry experts who bring fresh perspectives on growing your business beyond the numbers. Because building a successful creative business starts with strong financial foundations. Your next chapter starts now. Hello. You are listening to the Creative Minds Smart Money podcast. And today's topic is all about platforms that are bookkeeping platforms versus bookkeepers. Now, I want to start off by acknowledging that this is not me shaming anybody or, telling anybody not to use these services. If that is what you find is best for your business, please don't let me stop you from moving forward with one of these. But I want to talk about just the key differences between them, as well as kind of diving into like what each one of them is and everything like that. You guys have already known I've talked about things like Bench on here before, but there's a couple other ones I want to mention and then just kind of talk through it so that we can really, get a full grasp of what's going on with all of this. Okay. So first of all, there is a growing wave of online bookkeeping services from Bench to Collective. There's one called Pilot, Xendoo, inDinero, Paro, KPMG Spark. There's a bunch of them popping up. A lot of them are very small, so not a lot of people are using them. Bench and Collective are probably two of the biggest ones that I know of. I want to just frame this whole conversation and this whole topic around the choice that obviously these services do exist because you as a business owner and you as someone who needs the service needs options, but not every option is going to serve you at every stage of growth. So one of these could be great for you starting out and it might not be great for you later on. It could be good for you later on, but maybe not starting out. So we just want to talk a little bit about this topic and get you really informed, because I would hate for you to go to one of these companies and then be shafted or something like that. Because we saw earlier last year or this year what happened when Bench shut down and then got repurchased, and a lot of people panicked because they were going to lose a lot of what they have. And from what I've heard, the service that Bench had is no longer the same. That is not me trying to badmouth them or anything like that. That's just what I've heard from some of the people that I know of. They have told me that the service that they used to get from Bench and the service that they get now is just not comparable. Okay, so we want to ask ourselves, why do these services exist? So first of all, they are designed for simplicity, sometimes affordability. Sometimes these services can cost almost as much as something like With Me would be, but they can also come with additional things like tax preparation services, things like that. They do help those early stage entrepreneurs who just need like clean records for taxes or are interested in talking to investors. So they can be really great for a lot of startups and things like that as well. And they're obviously attractive because they promise like a set it up and then forget it. There are a bunch of different ones that are in the business. There's things like Bench. Bench focuses on small business bookkeeping. They also have a tax bracket, and it's kind of like a tech and human blend. So Bench has its own proprietary software. I think that's important to mention is that the fact that you are using their proprietary software, you don't own that data. So if you were to leave them, they technically don't have an obligation to pass it off to you. And I've had a couple of clients who have completely lost their data when they were transitioning away because Bench just didn't keep it. And again, this isn't, please don't take this me as trying to bash on them. I just want to be straightforward with you and be honest with you about what to expect. Like when you work with someone who's using QuickBooks or Xero or something like that, those services, you are the primary admin. So you own the data there. You can take it out at any time. You can download it. At the end of the year, I always back up both QuickBooks and Xero for all of my clients, just to make sure that that data is stored somewhere safely and securely. And that way, if they ever need to restart or they need to have some sort of fresh data, it's there. It's not elsewhere. A lot of these softwares are great for solopreneurs or businesses that have really straightforward needs. So if you are just a service provider with just software charges, of course, you're not going to need anything super complex. So it's very nice to have that kind of additional service that you can utilize and something that you can kind of invest in, you know what I mean? And then you have some things like Collective and inDinero. These do bundle services. So depending on which one you go with, they do have entity setup. So Collective does push a lot for S Corps. And if you listened to my episode a couple episodes ago about the dangers of S Corps, I want to warn you against someone pushing you to become an S Corp. I don't think anybody ever needs to be forced into an S Corp. You need to become an S Corp when you're ready, not because someone says, oh, hey, go into it. And if you don't have a lot of those items that I talked about checked off, that's when you really need to just be careful, okay? They also bundle compliance, tax, and bookkeeping. So you get everything for one service. It's really good for people, again, who are not needing a lot, but it does have a limitation because everything is so broad and they have all these different things, there's not a lot of depth or strategy that comes with it, especially with things also like Bench. Like, even though you have a call with them every month, they're not really there to strategize and like be like, hey, like we could do this better, like what a bookkeeper is supposed to do. And that's because a lot of these companies have hundreds of bookkeepers, and these hundreds of bookkeepers are working with hundreds of clients. I shouldn't say hundreds. They probably have like 50, 60 clients each. So you're losing that personal touch because they're there to get the job done. So that's something I want to clarify as well. If you are someone who's like, I don't want any personality at all in my bookkeeping, I just want the job done, then of course these services are going to be fantastic for you. But if you really crave that connection, you also crave someone having there that you can speak with and someone that can really give you the feedback on what's going on in your business, then of course you're going to want something more like what I offer or what other bookkeepers offer, which is that personal touch. Okay. Then we have things like Pilot, Paro, KPMG Spark. Pilot is very into startups and venture-backed credibility. So if you're someone who's looking into a startup and things like that, that's not a lot of creatives. Obviously, Paro is more of a freelancer marketplace. It does offer flexibility, but not always have that consistency. And then you have KPMG Spark, which brings a firm approach to small business bookkeeping. So obviously, each works well depending on context, but the personalization is what is missing. Now, I want to just bring one more to the forefront so that we can kind of talk about it a little bit, and that is Upwork. A lot of people will go on Upwork looking for cheap bookkeepers or just really cheap help. And I want to just warn you against the dangers of going too cheap. Like, obviously, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but if you go too cheap, right? If you go too cheap and there's something that's messed up, it's going to cost you more later to fix it. It's going to cost you more later to get it all right and make sure that everything is correct. So I would rather you hire someone at a decent rate, or even wait to hire someone at a decent rate so that it's done properly the first time, so that you don't have such like a huge cleanup or a huge, something you have to do in the future. I would hate that for anybody. So I just want to make sure that we're really kind of keeping an eye on that. Okay. So what is the big difference? Like, what is the big difference between myself and these services like Bench, Collective, things like that? So first of all, it's a relationship over a product. Okay. So I want you to understand it is about the relationship over the products. With Bench, with Collective, you could be swapped to another bookkeeper at any moment in time and you wouldn't know. And I've heard this a couple times from people who say that they have been swapped to different people within the span of like a month. They got to 6 different people, which is crazy when you think about it, because a lot of those companies will have that higher turnover because the rate that they're paying their employees is less than what they could make at, say, I don't know, like Walmart or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out a name of like a bigger corporation, because usually those bigger corporations pay like accountants and stuff like that 60, 70, 80K a year, whereas things like Bench and Collective are probably paying you like $30, $35 an hour, which isn't really the comparable amount. Maybe 25. I don't know. I don't know what they're paying, so I can't really say that. Don't take my word for it, but it's relationships over the product. So you get someone who knows your business and not just the category of business. So if they are a bookkeeper and they were just trained to do the bookkeeping, they're just going to get your books done. They're not really looking for anything out of the ordinary. They're not looking for anything else. Whereas when you work with someone like me, I'm going to deeply know your business. I am involved in every aspect of that bookkeeping. I'm looking at your transactions. I'm looking at everything else. And I'm saying, hey, like, what is this? Does this make sense? Is this really what we want for your business? So I'm looking at all of those tiny little things and trying to get you really, really good, clean data. Okay. We have flexibility. So reports and workflows adapt as your business revolves instead of being locked into a template. So when you work with like Bench or Collective or something like that, everything is locked into a template. They have their systems and processes set up because all of their systems and processes are proprietary. So instead, when we work together, things evolve, things change. Maybe you want to focus on a different goal than you did last year. Maybe you want to focus on something else this year. My services are going to evolve and change to do that. That's not necessarily something that Bench or Collective can do. And again, this is not me saying don't do it. I just want to be upfront with you about the differences and why it's important to understand the differences. So then you also have the strategic support aspect. This is support beyond just the transactions. So a good bookkeeper like me, and there's tons of other ones out there. I'm serious. There are tons of other ones out there. So I'm not just saying use me. Whoever you're using will actually help you use your numbers to make decisions. Whereas Bench, like one of my clients said, when they, at the end of the month with Bench, they just get a report and they're like, here's this report. Well, if you don't understand what you're looking at, you're getting these reports and you're saying, well, what does it mean? So a lot of this stuff isn't taught in school, right? Like you don't understand how to analyze all this. You don't understand what to look at. So when I'm looking at your reports, I'm trying to tell you and feed you information that is actually important. Now, I do offer a service where you can just get a report, but that's not the one that I want to utilize with you. Like when I'm working with my clients, I really want to dig into the background and like the strategic aspect of everything. I want it to be very strategic and very relational. I want us to talk about what's going on in your business and really work on it together. Okay. And then of course the continuity. And this is what I'm saying. You have one point of contact who understands your story. So when you work with me, you're working with me. I'm your point of contact. I'm the person you speak with. I'm the person that knows everything that's going on in your business. There's not 4 different people or 5 different people that are involved in your bookkeeping. It's me. So there's not a rotating team. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking about your strategy, you're talking to me. And that's one of the things that a lot of my clients value very, very much. Now, talking about all of these different softwares and things like that, now you have to make a decision. If you are early, very early in your journey, and one of these companies is offering you a fantastic deal, maybe it's $300 a month to just get your bookkeeping done, and you just need the basics, this is a great place to start. But again, I want to remind you that you do not own the data that they have on it. So later on, you may have to do some sort of strange migration thing. When your business becomes more complex, you have multiple revenue streams like Stripe. Maybe you also have a Square account. Maybe you also have, Thrivecart, whatever it is. And it's not just a basic revenue stream. Maybe you have some growth goals. You've got payroll. You've got a bunch of things. A dedicated bookkeeper will become a better fit for you. Now, if Bench and Collective can be like, yeah, you can work with just this one person, fantastic. Stick with them as long as you can. I'm not the type of person to say, oh, no, don't use this. Don't go to this. If that's what works best for you, that is what works best for you. I personally want what works best for you no matter what that is. If that's not me, there is no hard feelings, honestly. I want what's best for you and your business, even if that person is not me, okay? And again, it's not about right or wrong. I want to just clarify that. It's not about the right or wrong decision. There's no right or wrong here. Like going with Bench is fantastic. Going with me is fantastic. Going with another bookkeeper is fantastic. Going with Collective is fantastic. It is all about the timing and the alignment of your needs. If Collective aligns with your needs at that point in time, that is what works best for you, and that is what you should go with. Okay? So I want to encourage you to reflect. Do you need your numbers simply recorded? Do you need a box checked? Or do you need guidance and understanding to apply those numbers to make better business decisions? Okay? Both of those paths have immense value, whether you're just getting them recorded or you're using it. It's about knowing which one supports your current stage best. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please like it, share it, subscribe, bring a friend next time to listen on in. I appreciate every single one of you guys listening every week. You have no idea how much it means to me. This is one of my favorite ways to market and just chat and talk about and educate you on all of the different things that have to do with bookkeeping. I wish you the best week ever, and we'll see you next week. Farewell, fellow travelers.